As I've already covered the planetary aspects in the previous clip, in this clip I want to deal with the world that you may choose to use. Now, by world I mean plane of existence, and there are 4 of them. Atziluth, the world of emanation; Briah, the world of creation; Yetzirah, the world of formation; and Assiah, the physical world, the world of action. The reason why you have to choose a world is because these worlds have their own colour schemes. Now this applies to candles. Yes, different coloured candles for different worlds concerning Hokmah. Now with Atziluth it is light blue. With Briah it is just grey. With Yetzirah it is iridescent grey, or what you might call mother of pearl. And with Assiah it is white with blue, red and yellow flecks. You know, flecks from a paintbrush. And these 4 worlds have different timings associated with them. You know, with Assiah you do a ritual. It takes a week to come into effect, and the effect lasts for a week. With Yetzirah it is 2 weeks for it to come into effect and 2 weeks to last. With Briah it is 3 for 3, and with Atziluth it is 4 weeks for 4 weeks. Now, depending on what you are actually looking to achieve, this will influence you a bit, because you are asking for access to a non-physical being, property. And so there is a fluidity to this, but it's not absolute. But looking at it from your point of view, Atziluth, I myself would rule that out, because you're dealing with the highest, and you will have to wait 4 weeks before you get anything in the following 4 weeks. You know, with Assiah, this is a problem as well. Even though it only takes 1 week to come into effect, and the effect only lasts for 1 week, the problem is that Assiah is also, like the rest of this physical world, inhabited by the jinn. You know, you may call them demons, you may call them demics, I'll just call them jinn, it's a blanket term. So, as I don't know what you actually know, or if you've done anything remotely like this before, I don't think I could recommend it to you straight off, even though, you know, you're dealing with a Yetzirah that has no vice. It still might attract jinn who are curious, who might want to help you, or who are just plain nasty. So that leaves Briah and Yetzirah. Now, Briah is the most commonly used world of those who do practical kabbalah. You know, you do a ritual, it takes 3 weeks to come into effect, and the effect lasts 3 weeks. And that is reasonable. Now, you could go for Yetzirah, which is 2 weeks for 2 weeks. But, you know, considering the time, you have to have space for these things to come into being. I'll put it to you this way. You have 2 adult parents in a bed. Saturday morning, let's say 5:30 in the morning, the kids come into the bedroom and they ask their father if they could watch TV or if they're going out today. The father, who's probably dead asleep, probably the mother as well, are only going to give a basic answer because they're not thinking in a fully conscious way. They'll say, yeah, nah, go back to bed. So Assiah is the equivalent of going up to a sleeping adult and asking a question expecting a detailed answer. You only get a basic one. With Yetzirah, again, you will ask a question and try to wake them up. You might grab them by the hand. You'll get a basic answer, then the adult will pull their hand back. With Briah, this is the same as asking a question, grabbing the person on the hand and then pulling them up. You are forcing them to become awake. And I think, depending on your circumstance, this would probably be the best option because you want a clear, detailed answer. And remember, this is, as I said, this is not something you're going to be able to do every day of the week. This is it. You might only get the one shot. So, considering that your safety has to be in mind, and considering, let's just assume you're only going to get the one shot, I would recommend Briah as your world. With Briah, the colour is grey, so grey candles. And the incense, which goes across all 4 worlds of Hokmah, is musk incense. And when you have those, you basically have your setup. You also have to have, notes. What are you going to ask? And you have to pray. Now, you may be thinking, I'm asking you to do some sort of magic ritual. Well, basically, yeah. Prayer always comes into magic ritual. And a request also comes into it as well. So yes, you are performing a magic ritual. Now, people say, well, this is different from lighting a white candle and praying our Father, praying for the soul of the deceased. All that really is a low-level magic ritual, because you are doing the basics and basically hoping for the best. So, as I said, this can be, on appearance, complicated, but it's not really, because when you take into consideration the zodiac sign of the deceased and the planets that are either good or bad for it, that's where your planetary hours will come from. So your hours will be decided for you. So, what would I recommend for hours? Well, you've got the planet which the zodiac sign is anchored to. That has to come into it. You may choose the day and the hour of the same planet. Like Monday is of the moon. That's the day of the moon, and you might choose a moon hour for a zodiac sign which is aligned to the moon. So let me put forward something for you to consider. Just drawing back on my occult experience, if I was to nominate a planet for communication, it would definitely be Mercury. And that is quite reasonable, but if you are trying to communicate with someone who is a Sagittarius or a Pisces, this may be a problem because Mercury is detrimental to those zodiac signs. In that case, I would recommend either Venus or the moon, because with the moon it's a medium. It's a medium conduit, if you want to say that, and Venus is social activities. But you should always have the planet of the zodiac sign. Now, are hours more important than days? I believe so, because you have days of the week named after the planets, but the hours is when the actual praying or ritual will take place. That's what decides when you are going to do it. So, yeah, I would recommend you do it to the planetary hour of the zodiac sign of the deceased, because you might not have all the time in the world to engage in this. When you look at it, if you're going to rely on the day, you get 1 day a week in which to attempt something, which may or may not be one of your best ideas. You might have come up with an idea or a ritual or a concept which was roughshod, and if you feel that you have not done the appropriate ritual to it, then you have to wait another week. Even though this might be okay if you want the week to be a time to refine your ritual. So in the next clip, I will just go through some of the practice if you want to go ahead with it. Now look, there is nothing to stop you from praying for someone who's deceased. There is nothing to stop you from praying to God. Very important point. Because it's God who decides whether you can speak to the deceased. You can pray as many times as you want, but unless you, well, hopefully now you understand the planetary aspects in regards to this, which will give you more punch, when you make your application, which is what you're doing. You are essentially presenting a case as to why you should be able to speak to the deceased. And depending on how convincing and sincere you are, that will decide. But remember, nothing is guaranteed. So, I'll do the next clip and we'll take it from there.